terms of your record within this country, it's quite remarkable in terms of your return in front of goal. Was that something that surprised you in terms of how easy it was for you to start making your mark here? Did you at any point think maybe you might struggle a bit more and then get surprised by what happened on the field?
A little bit, it's like in the beginning it wasn't easy. It was pretty hard for me. As I said, I was coming with this injury, and then I wasn't playing much at the beginning.
Right.
Jomo was only playing in some games, and that in a way frustrated me. Because before Mozambique, we won the championship here in Mozambique. I was already started the national team, so I was expecting to play straight away. So I knew because the biggest club in South Africa, so it didn't make sense for me not to be playing regularly for Cosmos.
Right.
So in a way that frustrated me. It frustrated me a lot. For 6 months, I was like a bit frustrated because if you remember, after we went through a couple of months without only playing tournaments because it was the preparation of the PSL. It was that break that they had before the start of the PSL.
Yes.
We only playing cup football, like Cola and stuff like that. So I wasn't playing much. So at the end of that, we had that little break before the PSL. And I came home and I didn't want to go back to South Africa.
Interesting.
Yeah, I was frustrated. I wanted to give up. It's like I'm not playing, and then it's not even the biggest club there, and then I'm not playing. So what am I doing?
So what changed? What changed in your mind? When did it click? When did the wheel turn over and you realize that, okay, cool, you know what? I'm going to take this chance with both my hands and show these people what I'm made of.
I think my family was very important, for that. They didn't allow me to give up,
Good.
They knew, they knew my dream was to be professional football. I quit school to play football, so it didn't make sense for me to give up so easily,
Right.
So they convinced me. They convinced me to give it a try and see what was going to happen. And then I guess that was the best thing that they could do for me,
Yeah.
Because when I came back for the beginning of PSL, and then things started to change, I started to get more game time, and that's all I wanted. It's like a regular running in the side, because that was going to help me to show my talent. And then that's like what happened. I started to play, and I started to score goals, and then from there on, the rest is history.
Yeah, no, for sure. The rest is a good history as far as the career is concerned. Working with Jomo, someone like that who's heralded as being one of the most talented footballers of South African times, what did that add to your game? What did he bring to you as a footballer to help you become a better footballer?
Oh man, everything, everything. I came to Cosmos, I think I was 22, 23.
Yeah.
So I was still at the beginning of my career, although I was playing international football already, but I needed this sort of mentor, someone who's been there, who's played at the highest level.
Right.
And who would play the same position as well. So he helped me a lot.
Yeah.
And the way he was doing everything, the environment that I find at Cosmos, it also helped me settle. Jomo spoke the language, spoke Shangaan as well. I think we have some sort of a similar background, and all those things that they seem like nothing, they are like very important for me to be able to establish myself in South Africa.
Right.
To settle down and to play my football without worries. And I think that's the thing that helped us. His experience, the way he was communicating with all of us, the way he was guiding us. That father figure, because he was more a father than a coach for us. He was able to sit us down to talk to us, properly. And I guess all those condiments, all those little things that they don't seem to count, were like very determined for me to succeed in South Africa. So I guess his leadership skills helped me settle down and play my best football.
Okay, no, that's interesting because more and more footballers and coaches I speak to, the emphasis seems to be on the psychological. And I think maybe as outsiders and maybe fans of football, we don't give enough credit to people who acknowledge that that's such a big part of the sport. Psychologically, as a young black man coming from Mozambique into a country with the history that we had, being amongst blacks who were trying to be successful in a club like Cosmos, you then helped change their fortunes. I mean, there was the Coca-Cola Cup that when you arrived, they were able to add to their trophy cabinet. What do you think you brought besides your goals to that dressing room? What kind of personality were you? Were you a leader? Were you one of the ones who just kind of sat in the back and focused more on your job? How would you describe your role in that squad in the days where you started changing into a winning side?
Oh man, I guess I brought the international experience.
Mm,
As I
mm,
said, I was already playing for the national team. I had one AFCON in the bag,
mm.
and then we also qualified again in '98 for the AFCON with the Mozambican national team. So I had that bit of international experience, and then in a way, even without talking, you know, the people around you, they recognize that, and then they listen when you say something because they know this person has done it. He's playing at that level.
Mm,
He can always do something, although I wasn't the one to talk much,
mhm.
you know, but I was doing my talking in the field. And then I guess there's no better than that, just back your talking with the the action. I was
Yes.
more like an action man because I remember even when I become a Mozambican national team captain.
Yes.
A lot of people were like saying, but this guy doesn't talk. This guy is shy. This guy doesn't say much. But if you do your talking in the field, there's no better guidance than that.
Yes.
You understand?
Yes.
Do things and follow you. And then it was pretty much the same at Cosmos. I wasn't saying much, but people could trust me.
Mm,
People could relate to me because they knew I've done it and I was still doing it at international level. So I want to think I added this international experience in that squad because if
right.
you recall, okay, we had some South African internationals as well at Cosmos. They started to come up, the
Right.
Ketos, the you understand? So, but still, we had youngsters that never experienced that level of football. So, in a way, I think our experience helped mold them as well. You know,
Okay.
so I will say, I brought that stability, that international experience to the squad, and I
Yeah.
want to believe that I was a very good teammate to my teammate.
Yeah.
I never gave trouble to anyone. I was easy to talk to, easy to work with.
Yes.
So yeah, I guess I've added a little bit of magic in the dressing room as well.
Okay, no, that's great. I mean, by the time you hung up your boots, you had scored 106 goals in South Africa. That is an incredible tally and, and an unmovable one. What made it so easy for you to find the back of the net? I mean, is it a mix of, I'm sure it's a mix of things, talent, right place, right time, your teammates. But if you had to kind of hone in on what made you such a lethal striker, what do you think added to all of that?
Oh man, I guess it's dedication.
Mm,
Dedication. To work, uh, discipline.
mm-hmm.
You know,
What were the things that
knowing
you worked
this.
on like after training? What would you focus on in terms of your own game? What were some of the important skills that on a daily basis you were always trying to strengthen and reinforce?
Pretty much finishing.
Mm, mm,
Pretty much
right.
finishing. I was telling the other person the other day that that's what made a difference.
Mm,
Because Jomo will tell you that, I mean, strikers are born, strikers
mm,
are not made. You are
yes.
born, either you're a born striker or you're not. You cannot teach a striker to score goals. But regardless of that, of a skill or talent that you might have, like naturally, you really have to work extra hard on that. And then from an early age, still back in Mozambique, I just love it. I had this coach that always encouraged us to do this extra work. So I
Yeah.
guess I grew up with that discipline, of doing something extra. Or sometimes I'll come earlier in the training and do it, or sometimes I'll do it afterwards, finding a teammate who's willing to do something as well. And just hitting the net, as many times as I could, different position,
Yeah.
different situation. But the aim was always to put it back in the net, which made it very easy when it came to the game, because you end up finding situations that you're already trained, and then
Yes.
it becomes easy for you to finish. That's why it always looked easy for me to finish, but I mean, it wasn't just that. I
Yes.
had to work hard, and then also what encouraged me to work extra hard was always thinking about my opponents, opposition, or
Mm.
I would say, once I was fighting with in the different teams to score more goals.
Right. The
I'll mention the
defenders.
guys Sundowns at Sundowns and stuff like that. When I was working extra hard, I will always think about them. Like, I will imagine them doing something else. Like, maybe they're not working, maybe they're sleeping, maybe they're relaxing. So if I want to beat them, I have to do this extra work. So I was pretty much focusing on that, pretty much in the beginning of my career, but towards the career, and then I also had a little bit of gym time as well.
Mm.
At Cosmos, we are not like really doing a lot of gym work,
Okay.
so I will go to the gym, some extra, just to make myself stronger,
Right.
because PSL was very, very physical, and then
Uh-huh.
for me to be able to cope with those strong defenders, I had to do some extra work, upper body and the legs as well, just to make myself stronger. So I would say those are the extra work I was doing,
Mm-hmm.
but mostly finishing. That
Okay.
was my thing, and I love it. Just hitting as many balls as I could, because that made it easy when it came to the games to score goals.
Yeah. Okay. Now, people nowadays will obviously lament the lack of goals as far as strikers in the Absa Premiership is concerned. Double digits is quite a miracle on its own. I mean, you had your first 3 seasons, double digits. Then you went over 20 in the last of those seasons before moving to China. Were you surprised at all by, maybe at the end of season 1 or season 2? Did you have offers that had come in and you thought, let me bide my time here at Cosmos before you did the China move? Or was it a matter of you just playing and that was the only move that came after your time at Cosmos? Or in your first 2, 3 seasons, did you kind of rebuff some deals thinking, no, it's fine, I want to stay at Cosmos? Or did none come about up until the China move?
No, I mean, personally, I never like really, really get invitees to go play somewhere else.
Mm,
And then Jomo was running the whole thing. When you're playing for Cosmos, you cannot afford to entertain other things. It all goes through Jomo. So I
yeah.
want to believe that he had offers for me, but Jomo never wanted to let me go, for
Mm,
some reason.
mm,
You understand? And also, I mean, the environment I found at Cosmos, I mean, it made me want to stay. If today we're talking about a record in goals and
mm,
uh, other stuff, it all happens because I stayed that long at Cosmos. Of course, in a certain way, it might have like cut my money. I would say like that.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
Because Cosmos, you cannot make a lot of money at a club like Cosmos. It's a small team, but
Yes.
it's just the environment and the familiar environment that made me perform. I was doing
Mm,
well because I was in a safe environment. Everybody loved me there. The team was doing well, and then I wanted to stay for a long time.
yeah.
But to be honest with you, no one ever really come to me and propose a move or something.
Okay.
Until that China deal happens.
Yeah, yeah,
First was the China deal, and then after that was the American deal.
yeah, with
Those were the
Tampa.
periods when, yes, so it's pretty much when I scored the most goals, because I think those were the most goals I scored in a season, over 20 or something, or
Mm,
around 20.
mm,
Then the offers started to pour, but it wasn't really easy, to deal with John as well,
yeah.
because I remember even both China and America, I went on loan, but these teams were like interested in having me for longer.
Huh.
But I guess they never like reach an agreement with Jomo, who
Yeah.
quickly brought me back to Jomo Cosmos. That's why after those moves, I always came back to Cosmos because Jomo really wanted to have me around there. I don't know what was the agenda, but as long as I was playing and scoring goals, I was happy, you
Okay.
know. But yes, of course, looking back now, you'll think that maybe I should have like forced a move somewhere else to make more money, you
Mm-hmm.
know. But then I was young and I was just enjoying myself, you know. And then I was feeling very happy in that environment. You know,
Yeah.
it was very good for me. You know, I could perform there. So when you're playing well, sometimes you don't think about anything else, you know. But I mean, as I said, looking back now, maybe I could have done something just to move for a bigger club or a
Mm.
different league to see if I could, you know, earn a bigger profit, you know.